March 1942, near Gazala, Libya. The wind screams across the open desert, carrying fine yellow dust that grinds into every crevice of man and machine alike. The sun is merciless, an unblinking eye over a wasteland littered with burned-out tanks and half-buried tires. From the ridge above the British 8th Army's forward position, Lieutenant Karl Brenner of the German Africa Corps squints through his Zeiss field glasses. Below, a convoy of small, boxy vehicles bounces across the sand at alarming speed. They look ridiculous, like children's toys painted in olive drab. He chuckles to his adjutant. That's what the Americans send their soldiers into battle with? A toy car? His adjutant grins. Maybe it's for fetching the tea. The desert wind swallows their laughter, but the toy, officially the Willys MB Jeep, is no joke. On the ground below, Staff Sergeant Bill Harkins grips the thin steering wheel, goggles coated in dust, face streaked with sweat. His uniform is caked with sand, his scarf wrapped tight against the heat. Behind him, Private Langley mans a mounted .30 caliber Browning machine gun, scanning the horizon for movement. The Jeep's engine hums steadily, a modest Go Devil 4-cylinder, just 60 horsepower, but reliable as gravity itself. They crest a dune, bounce through a ravine, and surge forward again without missing a beat. Other Allied trucks struggle in the sand, heavy, wheezing, bogged down. But the Jeeps glide past them like desert foxes. They can carry 4 men, 2 stretchers, or a mortar team with ammunition, all on barely half a ton of steel. Harkins slaps the dashboard with a grin. "Ain't much to look at," he shouts over the wind, "but she'll get you home." By afternoon, the small convoy has mapped enemy positions, relayed coordinates by radio, and returned to base, all in one fuel tank. When they pull in, the British major watching from the command tent can't hide his grin. "Marvelous little beast," he mutters, turning to a young correspondent beside him. "It's not armored, not armed, not even comfortable, but it bloody works everywhere." Across the dunes, German reconnaissance vehicles, heavy Kübelwagons, and SDKFZ's 222 armored cars struggle with overheating radiators, broken axles, and clogged filters. The Jeep, small and simple, thrives in the very environment that kills others. By dusk, Lieutenant Brenner's radio crackles with an order. The Americans have struck again, fast, light, impossible to catch. His commander demands to know where they came from. Brenner has no answer. He just stares into the setting sun, the laughter from that morning fading into disbelief. The desert had met the Jeep, and the Jeep was winning. July 1943. Sicily, Italy. The rain comes sideways off the Mediterranean. Mud clings to boots and treads. Allied troops slog up the winding roads toward the hill towns, hauling supplies, ammo, and stretchers. And weaving through them, bouncing, splashing, unstoppable, are hundreds of Jeeps. Private Harkins is there again, now a veteran of North Africa. His Jeep's windshield is cracked, the hood dented, the star on the side half hidden under layers of grime. The front bumper carries the name Lulu in white paint. "Come on, girl," he mutters, coaxing the shivering engine through a flooded street. Behind him, 2 medics hold a wounded paratrooper between them, his arm bandaged, blood dark against the canvas seat. The Jeep lurches over debris, hits a crater, and keeps going. On a nearby hill, a group of German prisoners watch in silence as a convoy of Jeeps snakes up the slope. One leans toward another and mutters, half smiling, "They build them cheap, but they never stop." He's right. The Willys MB isn't elegant. It's elemental. Its flat fenders double as seats, its folding windshield saves space on transport ships, and its canvas top can be stripped or patched in minutes. It's light enough to be lifted by 4 men and small enough to fit inside a C-47 transport plane. The Jeep becomes everything. Ambulance, 2 stretchers lashed across the hood and tailgate. Scout car, machine gun mounted, antenna waving in the wind. Command post, generals sitting on folding chairs beside it, maps spread across the hood. Chaplain's altar, a wooden cross mounted to the grill. General Dwight D. Eisenhower later calls it one of the 3 tools that won the war, alongside the C-47 and the landing craft. In a small Sicilian village, Harkins parks near a stone church. A priest steps out, offering bread and water to the soldiers. Children gather around, marveling at the odd little vehicle that's somehow everywhere, from the desert to the mountains. One boy touches the grill and laughs, pointing. Americano. Harkins grins. Yeah, kid. And she ain't done yet. By the time the convoy rolls toward Messina, the Jeep has already crossed more miles than any tank in the campaign. The German High Command takes notice. In field reports intercepted by Allied intelligence, one officer writes with grudging respect. These small American vehicles appear everywhere, roads, fields, streams, even rubble. They are pests. Reliable pests. They were pests indeed. And pests that would soon be swarming across France. June 1944. Normandy, France. The beaches are chaos. Smoke, fire, and the crash of waves. The air smells of salt and cordite. Amid the wreckage of landing craft and twisted steel, the first Jeeps roll off the ramps of LST-289 onto Omaha Beach. Engines sputter, wheels dig deep, then grip. The Jeeps push inland, weaving through shell craters and barbed wire. Some carry stretchers, others haul ammunition. One carries a chaplain giving last rites under enemy fire. They move faster than the tanks, lighter than the trucks, and more dependable than any machine that size has the right to be. On a ridge overlooking the beachhead, a captured German soldier stares at the endless stream of them, hundreds pouring off landing ships like ants. "Sie kommen überall," he mutters. They come everywhere. By the time Paris is liberated 2 months later, the Jeep has become as common as the rifle. It leads convoys, scouts villages, and ferries generals through cheering crowds. General Patton's Jeep War Eagle thunders down the Champs-Élysées, flags fluttering. Children climb onto Jeeps to wave at their liberators. In the fields of Normandy, a single Jeep pulls a 2-ton howitzer through mud that would trap a truck. On another road, engineers use Jeeps to lay communication wire across miles of countryside. A war correspondent writes, "If you could bottle freedom and give it wheels, it would look like a Jeep." By the winter of 1944, Jeeps carry soldiers into the Ardennes forest, headlights blacked out, engines muffled with burlap to hide from German patrols. They deliver food, evacuate wounded, tow artillery, and sometimes serve as makeshift snow plows. Even when frozen, even when half-buried, they start with a single pull. A German sergeant captured during the Battle of the Bulge shakes his head as he watches Allied Jeeps pass. "It's a strange thing," he says. "We have engines, armor, machines, and yet we cannot stop those little cars." He's not wrong. The Jeep is no longer a tool, it's an idea, mobility, simplicity, the American knack for making the impossible practical. May 1945, Germany. The war is nearly over. The roads are rubble, bridges collapsed, fields scarred by shell fire. But the Jeeps keep coming, over, around, through. Outside a shattered farmhouse near the Elbe River, a Jeep idles in the mud. The driver, now Captain Harkins, steps out, lights a cigarette, and looks across the horizon where smoke from Berlin still rises. Behind him, 2 MPS use their Jeep to haul prisoners toward the rear. Another crew replaces a tire in the mud. The same tools, the same laughter, the same rhythm that's carried them from Africa to Europe. A passing British officer tips his helmet. "That machine of yours," he says, "it's bloody immortal." Harkins smiles, patting the hood. "She's tougher than any of us." By VE Day, more than 640,000 Jeeps have been built. More than all of Germany's armored vehicles combined. They cross rivers on pontoons, plow through rice paddies in Burma, roll over the frozen Volga with the Soviets, and race across French vineyards and Italian cliffs. Wherever the Allies go, the Jeep goes first and last. After the war, surplus Jeeps are sold to farmers, doctors, engineers. They rebuild nations the same way they helped win the war, by simply never stopping. In a Paris cafe, an old German officer sits reading a paper. On the front page is a photo of a Jeep driving through rubble under the headline, "The Vehicle That Won the War." He smirks and sets the paper down. "We laughed at them once," he murmurs. "Never again." Cut to black. The narrator, voiceover. It was light where others were heavy, simple where others were complex. And in a war defined by machines, it was the smallest of them all that carried freedom across 2 continents. The Jeep, the little car that carried a world to victory,